Oh man, Ace, I can't believe it's already almost the 4th of July, 2023. Hey, everybody out there, thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Masculine Minute. This is your co-host, Joshua Gillow, and on the other side is Ace Haggerty. What's going on, Ace?
Hey, good morning. Happy Monday morning, man.
Happy Monday morning. Yeah, we figured we'd go a little later today because, you know what? Honestly, we forgot about it. We said, we got to get back on this horse and get rolling. So we figured we'd talk about a subject today. And before we get into that, Ace and I went to see the new Indiana Jones movie yesterday, and it kind of plays into what we're going to talk about today. But we went to see the new new Indiana Jones movie. And it's interesting. You should be Indiana Jones. You just need a top hat and a whip. But anyway, it was interesting how they brought back the old and the new and all that stuff. And the funny thing is, you see this old guy, right, Harrison Ford, that he's kind of lost and washed out and kind of retiring and everything. And what you notice in there is him trying to find respite, him trying to find happiness or solace in, you always see him like with some kind of whiskey or something. Like that's part of the movies, right? You always see that where it's like whatever the hero wants to relax and just kind of not be crazy, not be saving the world. So he's always got like vodka or whiskey or something in his hand drinking, right? Anyway, so I wanted to talk today, Ace, and I wanted to have a conversation about, it's the 4th of July weekend extended. That's the Monday before. We have the 4th tomorrow. And I know from my past, it's been, 4th of July is like, all right, great. It's burgers and brats and lots of beer and all that stuff. And the next day, right, the 5th, you feel like shit. And you're like, why did I make all these bad decisions? And it keeps being this big circle that keeps happening over and over. As a pattern in my life for many years that, I just thought that was holidays. That's what you needed to do, right? There was no way around that. So I wanted to have a conversation with Ace about that today for you listeners out there to hopefully open up and shed some light on it. Now, I want to let you know right away that I'm not anti-alcohol. That's not my thing. I actually enjoy a drink here and there a lot more when I was younger. And now as I'm getting older, a lot less. But anyway, my point is that I'd love to have a conversation around how to enjoy the holidays here tomorrow, the 4th of July, or today, if you're partying today too, and not regret it the next day. Because it sucks, Ace, right? It sucks when you get up the next day and you're like, what the fuck did I do that for again? How many times is it going to take me to realize that this is just stupid? So, Ace, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are I used to party a lot. 4th of July was one of those weekends where it was just like, man, balls to the wall, and let's throw some fireworks in the mix.
Oh, yeah. Drink and blow shit up.
Yeah. That was pretty much my life for a really long time. And so far, it's Monday, and I have not had a single drink over the weekend. We've gotten to several 4th of July parties. They've been a lot of fun. But the thing that I enjoy the most about not drinking when I'm at a social event is that it forces me to have to be myself.
Yeah.
The thing that I always enjoyed about alcohol was after a couple drinks, you start to kind of let your guard down, so to speak, and think you're a lot funnier than you are and a lot more fun. And I'm with you. I'm not against drinking. I'm not against all of that. What I'm saying is that without me drinking, now I have to be more intentional about how I spend my time, the interactions I do, the things that I end up doing. And I just love being able to wake up and feeling amazing, not feeling hungover, not feeling lethargic. I worked out this morning, cold shower. I'm back on track. We're doing the show. I've got a whole bunch of energy. We're going to go out on a hike after this. Like, I get to really enjoy being present. And I still went to the party, had fun, shot fireworks, the whole nine, ate food. I was off the diet for sure this past weekend, but at the same time, I was able to drive home safely. I was able to be responsible as an adult, and kind of set an example for anyone that might be listening or watching while I'm at these events. Because trust me, being sober during the holidays was not the normal me ever since the age of 21.
Yeah.
And so I think the big thing I want to take out or tell, get out of all of this is that whatever you decide to do, you got to be purposeful about what you're doing. You got to understand why you're doing it. If you want to go and have some drinks and let loose and kind of forget about the world, because that's really what alcohol does. It makes you forget about really what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
as long as you do it with purpose and intent and you're responsible and you're doing it safely and you're not kidding yourself, like saying, oh, I just need a break. Oh, I just need this. Oh, I just need that. Like, be open and honest and upfront with yourself. I think that's really the big thing, is taking responsibility of your life, being in control. Because honestly, man, I could have had Jello shots. I could have had a beer here and there. You wouldn't have cared. Your family wouldn't have cared. The people that we were hanging out with would have been totally happy. I was getting drinks offered to me left and right. But that's not the point. The point was, I made a choice and I was going to follow through on that choice, because that's what men do. We make choices and we stick to them if we want to be a leader, if we want to be uh, a leader for our family, our community, and everybody around us.
No, absolutely agree, dude. You're absolutely right. And most of my youth, when we'd go to a party, youth meeting like 21 on, but we go to a party and that was the idea. Like, okay, I'm going to try new drinks. I'm going to do this. And I'd get there and I have a couple, like, I felt like I wasn't enough unless I started drinking. Because if everybody else was drinking and I didn't drink, then I felt like I was cast out. Like I wouldn't be part of the party. Like I wouldn't have as much fun. And then I started to put the two together as I, got a little older, closer to 40. I started thinking, wait a minute here. So you're telling me, and I'm speaking in my own head nowadays, you're telling me that I have to drink in order to become a person that can be okay to be at this party, that's going to be, cool enough to be at this party, to have conversation with people. Like I need an actual substance to have conversation with people. And it started to hit me. I said, wait a minute here. What would life be like if I could just go to a party and not do that? If I could just be me and not have to have a substance kind of unleash me, but allow me just to be there as it is, right? And just speak as it is and just enjoy the event without feeling like I had to augment my reality to become part of that reality. And that was something that it took me a little while. I felt completely uncomfortable in the beginning, because I'm like, what does life look like when I don't have to act like somebody else or have something else help me become someone else? That was the big question. And I said, all right, let's see what happens. And, for me, when I would drink beer, I'd love the, flavor of beer, but it's more the effervescence of the beer, right? The bubbliness of it that kind of quenched my thirst. It wasn't even the alcohol that I was after. So then I started drinking, the Sprites, just not Sprites, sorry, the club soda with the flavoring in it, right? These sparkling waters that they have with no alcohol in them. I'm like, well, you know what? I still get the same sorry. You still get the same like flavor and texture, if you will, but you don't have any of the headache or anything like that the next day. So I'd have a couple of those and I'd be the sober guy. I'm like, yeah, I'll drive home. No big deal. And at the end of the time, I'd feel better. Like the next day, the 5th of July, I'd get up and be like, man, this is amazing. I feel amazing. I had a good time at the party. And I started to unpack. I had wired that I couldn't enjoy a party unless I was drinking, right? It's like one equaled the other. No enjoyment, no alcohol, no enjoyment. And then when I said, wait a minute here, this isn't true. This is bullshit. Whoever told me that's the case? That's what I modeled, right? That's what you model, what you see around you. That's what people do. That's the other adults. When you're a kid, you're watching them. And what are they doing? Oh, they're drinking and they're laughing and having a good time. And you associate the actual enjoyment of the party with how much alcohol you consume, or that you can't have a good time unless you do. And when I disconnected those two and I said, wait a minute here, that can't be true. That cannot be true, right? Let's try without it. Fuck it. Let's just try without it. Let's just go and I'm not judging anybody that is there. That's not the point. I'm just going to go have a good time and just be me without the alcohol. Let's see what that looks like. And man, the amount you learn about yourself and the amount that you look around and you're like, I wonder how many others think that there is no way out of this. Like this is just part of an event. Like you go to a party or something and you just have to. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't have to. And you don't have to. It's not weird either. Someone offers you a drink. You're like, no, not right now. I'm cool. And like, all right, cool. And off we go. It's like, no big deal. There's no judgment. And the next thing you know, you feel better about yourself. You're being, to your point, more purposeful in the beginning, right? But it's asking that bigger question. What does life look like when your present reality is already more than enough, that you're already very satisfied and fulfilled in that you don't need more through alcohol or through some other substance in order to get fulfillment or happiness or whatever it might be you're searching for? What if life could be simply joy and abundance and fulfillment without any of that shit? That's a question I asked myself. And I'm like, okay, how do we get there? And that's where the deep dive had to come in, right? It started digging deeper and started to figure out what was really meaningful in my life. And every time I would go to a party and I have a couple of drinks, I would disconnect from my family. I'd disconnect with people. And I felt like I don't know about you, Ace, but I remember many times I had a lot of conversation. I'd talk a lot when I would drink. Then I wouldn't remember anything I said. None of it. So like, why am I even doing it?
Over and over again.
Like the same thing over and over again. It's like now if you don't drink and you go talk to somebody who has had a couple of drinks, I'm like, I hope they remember half of what they're saying because it's brilliant. You know, I hope they remember that because it impacted me. It was really a good conversation, but I don't know how much they're going to retain. So it's today is about just thinking about that. You know, when you go out today or tomorrow, whenever you're going out to a party, think about, are you doing it purposefully or are you just doing it because it's an old pattern? It's just something you've done before. It's like an old shoe you put on each and every time you go to the party. You put on your fancy Hawaiian shirt, and you're going to head out to this cookout. And the next thing you know, you're going to get there and you're just going to start drinking because that's what you always do. But what if you thought of it differently this time? What if you said, man, instead of 10, I'm going to have 5? Or what if you said, instead of 5, I'm going to have 1? Instead of said 1, I have none. I'm just going to go and just going to have a seltzer water and just kick back and just observe and enjoy and be me and not have to be me with alcohol in order to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that because I used to use it as a crutch as well. Social anxiety, things like that. I
Yep.
thought I was funnier, more of myself can be let out because of it.
Or you have better dance moves when you're drinking. I totally get that too. That's what I used to think.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And what I realized after years of doing that was that the thing that I love the most about social interactions and talking with people and all of that, I love connecting with people.
Yeah.
I love listening. I love understanding. I love being able to relate to people. Why do you think I jump on the podcast every day now? Like, I just love connecting with you, connecting with our audience, connecting with people when I interview them. I love connection as a human being. And what I realized, and the big switch for me when it came to drinking, was when you drink alcohol, you lose that connection. Parts of your brain literally shut off, and you think you're connecting with people, but your short-term memory is affected and a whole bunch of other things, and you're not really connecting with people. Like, I've never come out of a drinking episode saying, "Man, that was a great time." Like, I ended up learning a lot and being much better of a person. And it just, once that clicked for me, like, the one thing I love the most about interacting with people, I don't get from alcohol, and I would use it in social interactions. Like, that was the big change for me. Like, you don't see yourself, it's hard for you to see yourself in that state because you're inebriated. But in addition to losing the connection, I became a person that I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
At first, it was a laughing person, a funny person, someone who would do crazy, wacky stuff. And I would get a little bit of praise for it. Oh, Matt can really unwind and open up when he would drink. But it's a slippery slope, man. It is slippery slope. Alcohol, it's addictive. It can be a depressant. I don't want to depress anybody today. Like, it's not the point.
Yeah.
But for me, in my journey, I had done that shit way too much. I
Yeah.
had done it for way too fucking long. And when I look back at my 20-year drinking career, it's kind of like, well, what good came out of this? You know, broken relationships, broken body, forgetfulness, hangovers, like, I don't know, friendships that that weren't really true friendships. It was just someone I could drink with, someone
Yep.
I could go out with.
And what
And so,
happened when you stopped drinking with that person?
yeah,
They
the
fell off the
relation
face of the earth, man.
yeah, the
Disappeared.
relationship usually deteriorated. Some have
Yep.
gone through that, but I would say the majority of them haven't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really interesting when you start looking at that side of it
Yep.
and realizing, like, I don't want to be like that around you personally, Joshua. I don't want to be like that around your family. I don't want to be like that. Imagine if I got drunk this weekend and I'm running around all crazy, like, what I would look like to your kids. Like, I don't want to be that person. I never
Yeah.
want to be that person. My own kids, I have to put myself in my shoes when I have kids. Do I want my kids growing up with a father who isn't fully present? Because they don't know what's going on. They just know that when dad drinks, dad is different. And
Yep.
I'm like, fuck that. I do not want to be that. I grew up in a household like that. I don't want my kids to grow up in a household like that. So, coming back, 4th of July, I know it's a time of celebration, a time to really let loose and have a good time, but just be purposeful. Why are you doing the things you do? Do you need all those things in your life, or don't you? What is the purpose? Do you want to spend it with your family and create some good lasting memories? Well, then think twice about alcohol or any kind of drug, because it doesn't give you what you think you're getting out of it. It might make you feel good in the moment, and trust me, a beer or two feels fucking great, but at the same time, like, on the outside, are you being the man you need to be?
Yeah. No, I agree, dude. Absolutely true. And so, listeners out there, this is not about trying to spank anybody and tell them not to do anything for this weekend. You're hopefully all adults, or at least know what you're doing. But all we're asking for is be purposeful in it. Think about it. What would life be like if you didn't do the same pattern you've done, like I've done for my 20-year career as well, Ace? You know what I mean? 20 years of this, and so many times come home and be like, never again. I am never. Old fashions was my thing, right? I love the good old fashioned, especially if you get one of those fancy ones for 20 some dollars that are smoked and like all crazy. And it's like, I cannot wait. And they would just give me such freaking headaches, especially as I got older. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I spent how much money to get a headache today and feel like shit for an entire day. And I did that cycle for years. And I realized after a while that, I mean, sometimes you get away with it, right? You don't actually have the headache. And you're like, wow, okay, something's different. Maybe I'll stick with that brand. The next time, bang, right back out again. And I'm like, that's my body telling me something. It's telling me, dude, you're not 20 anymore. It's time you grow up, right? And it's time you just start thinking about these patterns that you've had ingrained in you for so long. Do you really need that? And if you do need something, what could you replace it with? So for me, it was the seltzer water, right? That worked for me. And now that's what I go anywhere. We go out to, dinner before we went to see a movie last night, and I got a seltzer water, right? It was nice. It was tasty. And off we went to the movie. But that it's so prolific in the American culture. Like, you see these movies of like lawyer shows, and at the end of the day, they're all just pounding whiskeys and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not here to judge that. I'm simply here that it's so ingrained in our culture that it doesn't have to be, though. This is a choice. It's about being purposeful with this. There's nothing wrong with alcohol. It's about making sure that it doesn't run your day and that you don't think you need it to be you. That was something that I, go out to a club. You had to have alcohol, dude. If you weren't half cranked, you couldn't go out on the dance floor. I didn't have that kind of courage back then, right? So the alcohol gave me that liquid courage, and I'd go out and do that. And I'd be like, oh, this sounds so great. I can't do this. You go there and say you don't feel good and you're not drinking. You're like, I can't go out on the dance floor. I need alcohol to go out there. I'm like, that's bullshit. The same person goes out there with or without it. It's just a matter of mindset at that point in the drug's effect. But if you sit back and say, wait a minute here, what if I could go out on that dance floor? What if I can go to that party this weekend? What if I can show up in life without having to need crutches, and I can just show up as me? What would life be like if I was enough without all that shit?
That's right.
That's my question to the listeners. What would life be like? Try something different. Break that pattern, whatever that might mean for you. Just a little bit or a lot. I challenge you.
Oh yeah, brother. I love it, man. Well, I think that's all we got for today. Enjoy your time with your family, your friends. Tomorrow's the 4th of July. Go America. Fuck yeah.
Go get them. Keep your fingers. And hey, Facebook users, thank you. That's all they show us on the side here. I wish I could see your names, but somebody say, hey, what's up? I'm trying to start becoming more disciplined and intentional starting today. So whoever that is, thumbs up for that. And good morning, guys, is another nice message here. So guys, thank you for listening, and get out there and get it. Unfortunately, we can't see your name, so we're just gonna have to say it this way. So, all right, guys, enjoy.
Have a great day, everybody.